as political parties gear up for the 2027 general election.
Of the
Yes,
2027
for the South. And that is what he's saying they should give to him to take.
Have you ever wondered why in Nigeria, all that has dominated the airways for the last 1 year are the 2027 presidential elections? Think about it. From last year, 3 years before the elections. It's so difficult for me to now read or watch Nigerian news as I'm sickened by what's going on. What has come over us as a people? Who should be the conscience of society at a time like this to call everyone to order? Is it a case of today is not worth living anymore and let's just jump straight into 2027? There's something bizarre about the whole conversation. Governance has been mostly abandoned as the jostling for who gets what in 2027 takes center stage. A nation whose majority are poor and suffering has no business acting in this manner. And just in case some of you think it's all about politicians and their bad behavior, you are wrong. Many of us are part of this madness. Our online and offline conversations are dominated by 2027. So, when are we going to talk about our current problems and their solutions? When are we going to exit this cycle of perpetual bad leadership at all levels of our society? The moral decay in our society is so bad that it stinks to high heavens. Are we blind or deaf to what's going on around us that all we can do is talk about 2027? There's this thought that always crosses my mind. What guarantee does any one of us have that we will be alive in 2027? As a believer, I am clear in my mind that all power belongs to God. So when men start playing God in their quest for power, it bothers me. You have absolutely no guarantees on tomorrow. So when you discuss or plan for tomorrow, please act with humility, the utmost humility. You are not God and you can't create yourself. Please, listen carefully to these verses of scripture and consider how they apply to you or our nation. Ecclesiastes 10:16 says, "Woe to the land whose king was a servant and whose princes feast in the morning." Some versions say, whose king was a youth or child. This speaks to a leader who is inexperienced or whose past makes it difficult for him to wear the crown with grace. It speaks about leaders who have no business being in positions of leadership because they lack the basics. The basics could refer to character, experience, education, expertise, etc. What happens to the land when such a person is leading? Woe. That's right. Hardship, failure, difficulty, tragedy, etc. is what happens when you have a leader who lacks the basics. Land in this scripture doesn't just refer to nations or societies, it also refers to families, organizations, or any entity made up of two or more people. There can be bad leadership in marriages, schools, churches, associations, unions, etc. This scripture also says, whose princes feast in the morning. What does this mean? So, not only is the king a child, slave, ill-equipped or inexperienced, but the princes feast in the morning. Who are the princes? And what does feast in the morning mean? In every kingdom, you have a king, a queen, princes, princesses, palace courtiers, slaves, etc. The princes and princesses are those who have direct access by blood or otherwise to the king. Those whose positions give them some form of delegated authority. Those who benefit disproportionately from others from the land. That means they get more than others. At the federal level of government, this will be the president's family and friends, his ministers, advisors, appointees, aides, etc. At the state level of government, it will be the governor's family, friends, commissioners, advisors, aides, etc. The same applies to local government chairmen at their level. I'm sure you'll get my drift. Those people are the princes. In the family setting, it will be the wife and children or dependents who have authority over the workers in the house. In an organization, it will be the different levels of management, even up to the head of drivers. This scripture says, woe to a land whose princes feast in the morning. It says, woe to a family whose mother and children are feasting in the morning. It says, woe to a country whose president's family, friends, ministers, advisors, and aides feast in the morning. It says, woe to a state whose governor's wife, family, friends, commissioners, advisors, aides, etc. feast in the morning. The morning is a time for prayers, preparation and production or work. When you feast in the morning, it means you have put pleasure over governance. It means a lack of discipline, focus, planning, preparedness, organization, and unity. It simply means corruption and chaos. It means focusing on 2027 when the people are suffering in 2025. Does this remind you of any country, state, local government, organization, family, or association that you know? I'm sure most of you can relate. You see, it takes two to tango. Failure of leadership is not only at the head, but it filters down. The wife who sees wrong and does nothing about it is as culpable as the first lady who does nothing to improve the lot of the people her husband leads. Leadership is a shared responsibility. We all perish when we believe the next person is responsible. We are all responsible. Our nation is going through her own wilderness experience, like the Israelites who left from slavery in Egypt but couldn't enter the promised land because slaves couldn't transform to kings. God used 40 years to purge and cleanse them of all relics of Egypt in them, until a Joshua, free from Egypt, was ready to lead them into the promised land. God is purging our nation of all relics of colonial rule and the civil war, and a time will come when our leaders will no longer speak about North and South, but about the promise of our people. A time shall come when the sad memories of the civil war will no longer inhabit the hearts of our people. A time shall also come when bitterness will no longer rule our homes and marriages will thrive in love. This wilderness is God's refinery, and when He is done, holiness, righteousness, love, equity, justice, and peace will rule our homes, societies, and our nation. Let's leave 2027 for now and seek the face of God in our affairs. God bless you all.